Hello, welcome to my diary. I'm Tatami, and here I talk about whatever I want. Today, I was really thinking about the videos I've been seeing of white people going live to, claim discrimination of some sort. I've seen a couple videos of some sort of like discriminatory claims because they feel like they should be allowed to go in stores without masks. I've seen people getting like angry, belligerent, violent, touching people from stores because they're angry about having to wear a mask, the mask policy. I heard about some couple at Costco was pissed because they had too many people to go in the Costco, and they were like getting in people's faces about that. Oh my goodness. And I'm not even going to get into the fact, like how Trevor Noah noted, how white people be going live for the most tiniest of infractions, acting like it's the end of the earth, and black people are out here going live literally to not get shot and killed. Like, we just live in two totally different worlds, don't we? But we're going to just not discuss that right now because I think a lot of people are going to discuss it and they're going to do a great job about it because it's fucking obvious. I did want to discuss the fact that it just was interesting to me how they felt this particular thing was discrimination, even though it's something that is saving not only their lives but other people's lives, right? I mean, I understand culturally here in America, we're not like Japan, right? We don't have a community. We are not trained to think about the whole. We're trained to think about us. And so it gets really difficult. It feels like oppression when it's time to think about the whole, when it's time to be a community. People feel oppressed and held back by needing to help the whole community. They would rather ditch everybody and run to the peak themselves and just see if they can make it, right? Um, it was interesting because I've never seen any of them complain about no shoes, no shirt, no service. That always makes sense to them. And it typically has historically, even though historically that concept is actually rooted in discriminatory practices against specific people. The no shoes, no shirt, no service thing, especially no shoes. I'm somebody who is a barefooter, I'll admit it. I don't wear shoes usually. Part of this is to reclaim the ability to just connect with nature. It keeps me in tune with it. Part of it is as a bit of a protest against these discriminatory claims, which were specifically, it was a classist thing. It was against poor people, people who could not afford shoes, afford, nice clothes, that type of thing. It was a racist thing because certain people tended to be more poor than others, and it was a good way to keep undesirables out of your shop without having to specifically call out those undesirables by name. And third, the third type of undesirable is hippies. They really didn't like hippies. There's a lot of hate towards the hippies, wasn't there? Some people loved them. Now we look back on it and it's like, oh, they're so cute. At the time, people were not all gung-ho for the hippies. And that is where that practice came from. No shoes, no shirt, no service, right? So part of me is protesting, but part of me is also just trying to reconnect with nature, trying to remember that the land is still the land, even though it's been covered by concrete. It's trying to get back in touch with my indigenous roots and my indigenous ways. And so I typically wear, I have my barefoot sandals, many different types. Okay, there we go. And they're awesome. I got both of these from Etsy. They're my faves. But at any rate, my point is I've stopped doing it right now because of the coronavirus thing, because I don't want to track anything in my home. I just want to be as careful as possible because I do have children. And I'm trying to think about my family unit. I'm also trying to think of my apartment unit. We are supposed to be a community here. A lot of elderly people live in this community, and I would rather not be tracking stuff here in general. But I find that so interesting, don't you? That there's literally something that's based in no science, right? The federal government has never made a rule that you can't be barefoot. There is no federal requirement to wear no shoes, but people think there is. I mean, to wear shoes, but people think there is, right? People often think that there is. And they have no problem with that. Even if it was, people often think it's illegal to not wear shoes. And they have no problem with that. No one ever argues with that. There are no mass protests that someone's holding them back, that someone's not doing what's right. But then here we have this thing that's very temporary, and it's to help other people, not just yourself, right? It's to make sure you don't actually harm other people and they don't actually harm you. And there's no exceptions to this rule. We have to all try and follow it as a form of community, as a form of courtesy, as a form of basic smart practice. And we have people who are protesting it as though it's really a form of oppression, as though it really is targeting a certain group of people and not everybody's being asked to be a community member, to be a team player. I'm blown away by the lack of, I don't know what's going on. Where are the synapses that are not connecting with people? That they would honestly be going live protesting, wearing masks. I just can't. I just can't. I'm proud that there's 70 or 69% of Americans are wearing masks now. I think that's wonderful. But I think it's pretty wild that we have a whole 30% of Americans who just don't think it's necessary, who would rather risk other people's lives and risk their lives. I'm not sure what that is. That mentality is like, we're just so special, we're just so strong, we're Americans, we can't get sick, or we have great hospitals. I'm not. Honey, if you're looking at the response to this pandemic and you want to catch coronavirus, bless your heart. I don't know what you're doing. But at any rate, I in my mind, when I heard that, it made this connection to barefooting and how absolutely people can ask me to leave. And I'll be real, I've never really been asked to leave. I've been asked once by a janitor at, not janitor, why did I say that? She was wiping down the tables at McDonald's, an older woman, and she thought I had dragged in some mud. And I was like, girl, look at my feet. They are pristine. Look at that man's shoes. They have dirt. But you think it's me because she locked in, this older woman, she locked in on my feet and she was like, ah. But for the most part, I don't deal with this. However, I'm part of some barefooting groups, and I've seen certain people absolutely do get harassed. Usually they're men with hairy feet. I'm so sorry. I don't know what it is about your feet. People are particularly disgusted by men's feet, manly feet, and they will flip out and really need them to go. Also, if your feet aren't looking pristine, which I tend to like to do a little too much when I go out. And so people expect it, they respect it, they like it. But at the same time, I'm very aware that people get kicked out all the time for wearing no shoes. And while you can gently fight it, go to corporate, I've never seen somebody really just go in as many people as I see doing this. I've never seen people protest those practices, which are rooted in classism, which are rooted in racism, the same way that they're protesting this, which is actually going to save your damn life. This is actually going to save your life and the lives of the workers, the essential workers. Imagine having so little respect for the people who are helping you bag your groceries that you think that their lives should be risked for your comfort. It's appalling, and I'm not sure where people get the damn nerve. Where people get the nerve. But yeah, anyways, isn't that interesting? I've just never seen somebody really protest. Even barefooters don't protest like that, going live. They're kicking me out of the store. They're kicking me out of Costco. Actually, no, I've been to Costco. Costco's been wonderful with my bare feet. In fact, one of my best memories ever came from a Costco when a little 12-year-old girl was with her mama, and she ran up to me, and this little white girl was like, I want to be just like you when I grow up. I want to wear dresses like you do, and I want to have bare feet. And her mom was just tickled and laughing in the background. She's like, my daughter won't stop looking at you and following you around the store. So it was there's no compliment quite like a little girl's. There's no compliment quite like a young lady's, is there? Nobody gasses you quite like a little girl does. Because if you were ever a little girl, you remember what it was like to just look up to certain women and sense that power in them and just want it, just want to be it. And so that was one of my best moments of my life, was a little girl seeing that in me. It was beautiful. It was lovely. It lifted my spirits. It lifts my spirits right now just talking about it. But at any rate, Costco's cool. If you're somebody who's a barefooter, Costco's cool. Planned Parenthood is cool. Walmart is cool. And there are several places that have absolutely, their corporate has no issue. But sometimes you'll run into a manager or two who you have to check and remind that corporate has no issue. So at any rate, this lady arguing for this really blew my mind because, somebody just trying to walk a shirtless through the store isn't gonna hurt anybody, right? It's just gonna, like, we might see a hairy chest, we might be like grossed out or something. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what the issue is with no shirt. Maybe it's because women always have to wear a shirt, so maybe like men should have to wear shirts too. I don't know. Maybe they just wanted to be a little more upper class in their stores. I'm not sure. But I'm just saying, this is like one of those things that it's actually protecting you and people are protesting. But things that don't protect you, they've accepted as like, it's cool. Who cares? Yeah, the government says it's illegal to not have shoes, and people don't care about that. But they care about something that's actually going to harm them. It blows my mind. I'm not sure I understand why you would be totally okay with thinking that the government requires you to wear a shirt in the store, but you're not okay with a corporation just asking you to wear a mask out of respect and protection for their workers. It makes no sense to me. So tell me where I've missed it. Tell me where I've missed the point here, because I don't see it. I don't understand it. At any rate, we'll talk more about like barefooting another time. But I did want to just draw that correlation of this thing that like I do, that I recognize, like, private property gets to make the rules on their property, and this issue that it's like, you all have accepted this, but you can't accept this, and it's only gonna last a little while. I hope she feels stupid. I hope somebody like roasts her in her family and is like, girl, you really went live in the grocery store and looked damn foolish. Looked damn foolish. And then in the background of the video that I saw this morning, I saw a couple of the days, but the one this morning made me want to do this. Tell me how in the background there's a worker at this store cheerfully wiping down carts. And she's like, why are you happy? And he's like, because I have a job. I was fired, and then I managed to get a job here just wiping carts for this company, so I can stay in my place and I can like continue on. Like, I'm doing great, ma'am. How are you? And she's like, oh, well, then I'm glad you're happy. I'm like, honey, how are you even going to be trying to bring this man down who's joyfully wiping down a cart because he's like out in the fresh air and he has a job, and you're out here angry because you don't get to potentially infect him? I don't understand my fellow Americans, but I mean, it's like, I understand them. I've seen this type of behavior before, but it's just not how my brain operates. So I'm just not sure what I'm seeing most of the time. All right, I'm done babbling on and on and on about this. Thank you so much for watching. May your ancestors and spirit guides be with you at every crossroads, and I'll see you next time.